Welcome everyone to this episode of Your Business in HD. My name is Jen Dice. I'm your host, physical therapist turned human design coach and marketing strategist for entrepreneurs. I help women in business uncover their magic and their mission and their greater purpose using their human design so they can take steps with crystal clear clarity and confidence to build the life of their dreams. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I am so excited to have you guys here. And I want to talk about this question or this idea that I run into a lot. And it is that question of what exactly is the return on using human design in your business? Aside from like, what is your human design? I've answered that before, but what is the return on using it? What is the benefit to using it? What will it do for you as this entrepreneur, as this business owner? So that's what I want to dive into today, because I have a actual, I know I talk a lot about the confidence and clarity and how that can drive you into taking action that you probably wouldn't normally take, which then generates results. But what are those results? What are the tangible results? And I actually have a story of a client that I worked with through this process of uncovering her human design. She was coming up on launching her course, her offer, and she wanted more clarity around not just the offer itself, but how to also show up in her messaging and in her marketing, because she was feeling a little bit all over the place. She was feeling just like she had a decent handle on her offer. She just wanted to refine it a little bit, but she still felt a little all over the place with some of her marketing as well, and some of her content creation. And so she was looking at ways that she could refine and really dive into her human design to leverage that going into her next launch, making sure that her offer, her program was up to where she wanted it to be. She was excited about it. And then she was able to kind of step into the marketing behind it to get it out there and to help bring in the right clients for that program. And after working with her, uncovering key pieces of her human design chart, not just like what is her human design, but actually looking at the specific key pieces of her design that helped guide her towards her greater purpose, that helped guide her towards her bigger key strengths that she, as that business owner, brought to her clients, and step into those and highlight those and leverage those. That's what we pulled from. And that's what that's kind of the tools or the keys that I gave her to start infusing those things into her business. So looking at her offer through that lens, looking at her marketing through that lens, giving her the permission to do things a little differently than maybe she had been taught before. And what ended up happening is she relaunched that program, and she was able to, number one, walk into that launch with more clarity, more confidence going forward, and more excitement. But the tangible results on the other side of that, because of some of the work that she had done, she was able to 3x her revenue on that launch for her program. So that is just one example. That is not something I guarantee or promise for everyone, but understanding, when you understand yourself and have that clarity on your next action steps going forward, what results are possible for you? So that is the bigger question. When you ask the question of like, what's the return on using my human design? What's in it for me? What's the benefit of using my human design in my business? It's just asking yourself, reframing the question, what results are possible for you if you had that crystal clarity in your next steps and that excitement behind the offer that you're putting out there, and that excitement as you're showing up for your launch? How would you show up differently? What would your business look like? Would your offer still be the same? Or would they be a little bit different if you could show up, if you could create something that that truly lights you up? And human design is just a lens in which helps to kind of give you that clarity, helps to kind of take the blinders off a little bit, or helps to kind of focus you in on the right path or the right next steps for you. And so again, thank you guys so much for joining me. So that's what we're talking about today, is like, what is like this return on your human design, of using this human design in your business, aside from the confidence and aside from the clarity. So like with this specific example and this specific client that I'm talking about, like we all kind of start with where we're at before. So if this is you, if you can kind of relate to this, you can kind of nod as you're listening to this, or kind of like silently raise your hand as you're listening to this, because we've all been there. We've all created things in our business because They made sense on our offer ladder. Our coach told us would be our next best move. So we should do things this way. Or we were told that if we wanted to create this type of an offer, this is what it looks like. And here is the checklist, and here is the box, and just stay inside the box, follow the steps, and you'll have success. But what that does is when you're looking at creation through the lens externally, and you're allowing all of these external factors to dictate what you're creating, that is how you create something outside of yourself that really does not match up with the person you are. It doesn't always. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it just works out really well, but it doesn't always. So this is where, when you're looking at this creation, especially when it comes to like your offers and the launching that you're doing, when you're creating an offer, if you've been in business for a while and you've got maybe a couple of key offers that are already generating revenue, and you're looking at a way to expand, or you're looking at ways to grow, and you're looking at ways to bring in more income without it taking too much more of your time or your sanity, like you don't have a lot of time to waste creating things that just you end up resenting in the long run. You really want to be able to focus in on creating the things that you're excited about. And potentially refining the things that you already have to help turn them into things that are a little bit more exciting to you. And so that's kind of what we're talking about today. So if you can relate to that, if that is you and you're kind of nodding along as I'm talking about this, what I usually do, so the process that I walk through with this particular client, just to give you an idea, is what we walked through first is I asked her like a lot of questions around where she was at right now in the here and now. So, background for me, my background is a physical therapist. So when I approach working with clients and patients in the healthcare setting, that's what we did. We established the baseline. Like, where are you at right now? Like, talk to me. Like, where are you at? What offers are you putting out there? How are you feeling about those offers? Like getting that baseline picture of where you're at right now. So you have that. It's like that before image, but that establishing that baseline. So what is the offer that you have that you're looking to refine? What is the offer that you're looking to create? What does your business look like today? What are the clients that you're bringing in and working with today in the here and now? Like, where are you at right now in this moment today? So kind of bringing that all together and getting a picture in your mind of like, this is what I have. This is what's working. This is what's not. And figuring out what is working for you, what is not working for you as you're looking at taking those next steps forward. Because that's the thing we want to look at is like, we got to where we're at today based on all of the decisions we've made in the past to get us here today. So the offers that we have today, the clients that we have today, many of us just didn't wake up with the business we have today from yesterday. We took the time, we've taken the action, we've been building slowly behind the scenes. We put in the work to get to where we're at today. So that's why you really want to get a handle on what that picture looks like. And like for her, we were looking at we're looking at a relaunch. So she's looking at relaunching this program, and she's looking at refining it to make sure that it's something that truly works for her going forward. And she's also looking at new ways to bring in revenue. And she's also looking at the actual launch itself and the marketing itself. So that she personally was feeling a little bit all over the place when it came to some of her marketing and some of the ways that she was showing up to market her business. And so obviously when you create an offer, creating the offer is one thing. Selling it and marketing it and selling it is a completely separate thing. And then fulfilling it and delivering on it is a whole other thing. So your human design can come into each of these phases of your business. And truthfully, 100% honesty and transparency, you might not like hit a home run right off the bat with an offer just because you used your human design. You're still going to have to go through this process of like, okay, this is what I'm thinking of creating. This is the lens I'm going to put it through. I'm going to pull in these pieces of my human design. I'm going to make decisions based on my authority. I'm going to figure out what works best for me, and I'm going to take action on it. I'm going to market it. I'm going to sell it. And then I'm going to see how that feels. I'm going to deliver on it and see how that feels. And sometimes it's like, it doesn't always work out the way you planned it. And sometimes it does. So just keep that caveat in mind, is that this is a process. It's not a, like, it's not a one and done. You're always going to be refining. You're always going to be evolving and getting better. But as you go through that process over and over and over again, and making things better and better and better for yourself and for your business, that is how you evolve. That is how you, like, when we talk about these businesses and we see these images and we have in our mind this thought of like, this is the business that, like, I want this business that supports this life of freedom, and this life where I can travel, and this life where, you know, I don't feel bogged down. It doesn't happen overnight necessarily. It's a result of taking these steps and going through and making these decisions over and over and over again. But what human design does is it allows you to shift how you're making those decisions, so that you're making those small decisions and taking those tiny steps forward on the path that's in alignment for you. So you're starting to make and over time, that has that massive shift and that massive impact for change in the business that you have today. So again, getting that baseline was the first thing. The second portion of this is like looking at like your human design itself. So kind of diving into that. So when you have that baseline, you kind of know where you're at, you kind of know where you want to go, you know what you're thinking of. That's where you actually tune in and dive into your human design a little bit. So if you don't know your human design, you're brand new to this, there's a link below that you can click on to that will help get you started. But it's diving into your human design chart, but not just understanding like your type, or like just key pieces just to know what they are. It's okay, I know what these are, but how do I leverage them? How do I apply that to this particular scenario so that I can take the right steps going forward? That is kind of the way you go about actually looking at your chart and looking at the different strengths that you have and pulling those out and figuring out how you can leverage those in the offer that you're going to be creating, in the marketing that you're going to be doing, in the way that you're going to be delivering and showing up for your clients, in the clients that you're even accepting yourself in the future anymore, like the clients that you are going to be calling in for this offer. Maybe that's going to change. So there's a lot of factors here, but the insights from your human design will help guide you through this process. But it all starts with number one, like knowing where you're at right now, and then diving into your human design so you can better understand yourself. Because when you have those insights, like immediately light bulbs might start going off of like, oh, like that's what I should be doing then, and not this, or this makes much more sense. Or I was wondering, or I was going around and around in my mind about, should I do this or should I not? And when I tap into my human design, I know now, like, that is a hell no, and I'm not going to do that. Or I know now that I am excited about that thing, and I'm going to take the next action step going forward. That is the insights that you can get from your human design. It's not going to paint you the picture. You're not going to be able to see with clarity, like the picture that is like 500 steps down the path, but you're going to be able to see with much more clarity the next step on your path. So I always like to say, like, I feel like, you know, before I was using my human design and stepping into it, I always felt like I was in this fog. Like there was this fog and I could see the stone that I was on. So if you're on like a stone path, I could see the one stone I was standing on, but I was surrounded by this fog, or there's this wall of fog in front of me, and I couldn't see what my next steps were. All I knew was I had brought myself to this one stone on this path, and I knew like how to operate and function on that one stone. I knew how to operate in my business. I knew how to work with my clients, but did I want to stay here? Or was there something else on the other side of that fog? Or how could I work to lift that fog a little bit so I could see a little more clearly what my next steps were, so that I knew that my next step was going straight in front of me and not 15 degrees to the right, if that makes sense. And that's what those insights of bringing in your human design will help just show you enough of like that breadcrumb, or that next step of which direction do I take with my next step forward, not the big picture of where you're ultimately going to get to, because none of us can really see that. It's just, that is part of trusting the process, trusting the hell out of yourself, and knowing that even if you have to make adjustments along the way, ultimately you're headed towards your North Star, your true path. And then the last thing to look at is like, for her, we got insights from her human design. we crafted a plan so she could go forward and look at her offer, look at her marketing. And then she went into her launch. So I worked with her prior to her launch. She took all of the information that we had kind of worked on together, and then she applied it. And she relaunched her program with much more clarity, much more confidence going into it, and a plan. And for her, that in and of itself is a return. When you're able to know with clarity, like this is a yes to go forward on this thing, or it is a no, I'm not going to take action this way. And that in and of itself is a return, because you know the direction that you're going. But a bonus for her was with her in this launch of this program again, she was able to get a 3x return on her income with this launch. So she was able to triple the income that she made from some of the changes that she had made. Typically, when you show up and you are excited as hell about the things that you are offering, about the things that you are working on, about the way that you're serving, that energy behind every social media post, behind every video, behind every sentence that you type out and put out onto the online space has your energy imprinted into it. And people feel that, people know that, and people pick that up. So if you are just creating content for the sake of creating content, if you are trying to do things one certain way because somebody told you to, if you are trying to market an offer that you subconsciously really can't get your brain around, or can't, like, just don't really want to sell, it's not going to sell. Trust me. I know that. I have created and sold and like struggled with this in multiple ways. When I had my Pinterest marketing company, I built that company on one core offer, one solid offer. I built that client base on one offer. And then I tested a lot of different things. I tested the group program. I tested the membership. I tested courses. I tested VIP options. I tested setups. I tested ads. I tested all of these other things. Not always. Some of this was way before I even knew my human design, and I learned the hard way by going through those experiences. But this is how, when you can establish where you're at today, knowing that something is off, something needs to be like maybe enhanced or refined or changed or shifted, because you have the desire to create more whatever in your life, whether that is more freedom, whether that is more space to be with your kids, more time to travel, whatever that thing you want to create is. When you establish where you're at and get that baseline, you're able to then set goals and create a plan to go forward in the future. And then using that human design is just one of those, is a tool you can pull in, and that can help guide you along your path, showing you that next step, showing you that next direction that you're taking. And then the other half of that is really starting to believe in and trust yourself and the decisions that you make along the way. And that is how you create your own return. Can I promise that because you use your human design on your next launch, you're going to triple X your revenue or your income? Oh, hell no. Nope. I cannot promise you that you're going to make more money on your next launch because you used your human design. What I can promise you is that when you use your human design to give you insights into your offer, into your launch, into your marketing, into the clients that you're bringing on, into the life that you're building, I can promise you that you're going to be able to approach all of those things. You're going to be able to approach that next step with those things with crystal clear clarity, which gives you that confidence, which then allows you to trust yourself and tune out the noise that is coming in from everywhere else around you. And when you trust yourself and you start taking those action steps in freaking alignment to you, that is where you get your return. The return itself is that clarity, is that confidence, that freaking permission to do the things in a way that's aligned to you. And when you start taking action along those lines, your return is going to look different than the return that I get, or the return that my next other clients get when it comes to creating their offers. Your return is yours. And it's also going to be really related to the perspective in which you look through it, the lens in which you're willing to look through. So the returns are everywhere. It's not always the tangible income that you get. That is a side effect. That is an absolute bonus to some of this work that you can get. But it's really when you start to tap in and go internally and trust yourself, it opens your eyes to so many other things around you. You start to see things a different way. You start to see things You start to see how the universe is showing up for you, the proof that things are working out for you in the smallest ways. And when you're able to see those things and you're able to like embrace those little things that are happening for you along the way and get excited about them and really like celebrate all of the things, all of the returns, that will continue to compound and grow over time. Because that is kind of that shift in that mindset. You're starting to see the things that are showing up for you. You're starting to see the abundance that is available to you. All because you're willing to look at things a little bit differently. You're willing to trust yourself, and you're taking that aligned action on your path that is aligned with your purpose. You're not doing work because it's what you think you should be doing. You're actually starting to shift and create in your business in a way that aligns with your bigger purpose and your bigger mission in this lifetime on this planet. So, all of this to say, so what is the return on using human design in your business? There is an infinite amount of return. There's an infinite amount of potential in the return that you can get from using this lens in which to view things through in your business and your life, and use it as a guide to really start to trust yourself and to start to take that aligned action and to like really just tune out the noise and what you think you should be doing and just take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I still have people around me that I trust. I need their help. I need their support. I need their guidance because they are experts at what they do. But it always comes back to me and what the path that I'm on, the difference that I'm making in the world, the way that I'm serving my clients going forward. That is the bigger lens. That is the bigger filter that I put things through. And does this really align to me and really feel good to me and really work for me? Because I know from past experience, if it doesn't, it's going to be short-lived. And I want things to work out for the long run. It's about the distance, running the marathon, not the sprint. That is what I'm all about when it comes to making these decisions. Like, is this going to help get me, that next step closer to the bigger things that I number one, desire for my life, and number two, my bigger purpose and how I serve the people that I work with, in my business too. So I hope this episode was helpful for you guys. And if this brought up more questions and answers, if you're like, I don't know what human design or how I can get started with this, or I want to learn more about getting started with my human design to start to apply it to anything in my life or my business, click the link in the notes below. That will help get you started, and that will help continue the conversation and continue you on your path forward, taking action to your true north and your North Star and your soul's purpose and your bigger mission and purpose on this planet through the lens of your human design. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you all on the next episode.